High Priestess Jeklik, the bat aspect, is normally the first boss you'll encounter in Zul'Gurub. She is one of the High Priests sent to fight Hakar, and instead, turned by Jina the Hexer, now finds herself serving the Soul Flayer's will. Getting to Jeklik can be easier said than done. You cross the bridge, take a right, die horribly from exploding bats, corpse run, rinse and repeat, because of these patrolling bat riders. They most often come in pairs and are accompanied by some smaller bats. Our way of dealing with these are a little bit different than others I've seen. We actually group the pack together, AoE the little bats, and then separate the two bat riders from each other. The reason for the many deaths and the need to separate the riders is because they start casting a kamikaze concoction at around 20%. This does a lot of fire damage to anyone nearby, and it's impossible to stop it from casting with less than killing the mob before the cast is complete. Fortunately, the mob is completely stationary while casting, so just get the hell out of dodge as soon as it hits 20%, and Melee probably does best in moving at 30% just in case. From our PTR testing, Cursed Tongues seem to affect the cast time and should therefore always be up on these mobs. The Hakari Witch Doctor is worthy an honourable mention. When this frog hexing mob dies, a spirit spawns that cannot be DPS'd, that does damage to whoever it targets if it gets too close, and that despawns automatically within a few seconds. Just stay away from it when you see it. High Priest Jeklik herself is a reasonably straightforward fight, but it can be a little bit gear demanding. Whereas Venoxys can comfortably be done in a group of 10, the Bat Boss will put some pressure on your healers. I suggest you bring at least 3 of them for this fight, and having a couple of mages in your group will make your life a lot easier managing her ads. Jeklik starts at the top of the wall just outside her bat cave. As the fight starts, she turns into a bat form and flies down to the tank. During this phase, there are only 3 mechanics to pay attention to: her charge, her silence and her bats. Every once in a while, Jeklik will charge the ranged camp, knock one person down and do medium amounts of damage to that person. We normally place a hunter in between the ranged camp and the boss, so it's always the hunter taking the bat to the face. Since Jeklik occasionally casts an AoE silence and this can coincide with the charge, it's important for particularly the healers to keep a bit of a distance to the hunter eating the charge to avoid them getting silenced. During this phase, Jeklik also spawns groups of bats that come flying from her cave at the top of the wall. Have an OT or 2, pick them up, Frost Nova, and AoE nuke them down ASAP, and then go back to the boss. At 50%, she goes into phase 2 and turns back into a troll form. This phase is tank and spank with the addition of the occasional Molotov cocktail raining down from her bat rider flying around above her. The trickiest part of the fight is to make sure you interrupt her heals and that you don't stand in the fire. If you get her to phase 2 and manage those 2 mechanics, you're all good. On to the next.